Yeah, I'm talking with Greg Amundson from the Missoula Police Department. And Greg, gosh, it just seems like yesterday or the 4th of July was coming around. Here we are coming up on Labor Day. So another weekend to look at drive sober or get pulled over. What's going on with the various law enforcement agencies?
Well, all three of your local law enforcement agencies, the City Police Department, the County Sheriff's Department, and the Montana Highway Patrol, are going to be putting out extra patrols during the Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over national campaign for Labor Day.
All right. Now, I understand this is it actually starts on the 21st and goes all the way through Labor Day. Why is it such a long period of time?
Well, it's just a lot of people travel around Labor Day, and they don't travel just for the weekend. A lot of people kind of stretch it into a family vacation, so they take some extra days, and depending on where you live, you can kind of sneak that vacation in before school starts.
Now, Greg, one thing I've noticed, some of the news reports that have come out recently, we have had a great deal of traffic fatalities in Montana this summer. I think over 139 at this date. So how much of that do you know has to do with people who are driving impaired?
You know, it always varies a little bit from year to year, but in the state of Montana, I think it typically averages somewhere to between 50 and 60% of our state highway fatalities have at least one impaired driver involved in them.
Okay, now what does it mean as far as alcohol is involved to be driving impaired? What are the numbers?
For alcohol, it's a blood alcohol content of 0.08 or greater.
Okay, now what about things like marijuana? Has that been quantified yet?
The state has quantified that, and they do that in nanograms. And to be honest, I can't quote you the number. I know what it is. It's a 5, but I don't know if it's 0.05 or 5, or to be honest, I don't know the accurate answer right now.
Now, is that accomplished through obviously through a blood test, right?
Yes, we would do that through a blood test. And actually, if we stop someone that we think is impaired by drugs, not just alcohol, drugs, alcohol and/or drugs, the City Police Department and Highway Patrol actually have drug recognition experts that can come over and run a person through a battery of tests and determine with a very high accuracy what drugs that person is under the influence of.
Now, tell me a little bit about repeat offenders. I know that more often than not, people seem to think that they can be the exception to the rule. That perhaps even some people even think they drive better when they've had a few drinks. But talk to me about the whole repeat offender status.
Yeah, there's a lot of repeat offenders when it comes to alcohol. It seems like a significant number of the people maybe make a mistake and they get one DUI, but a very high percentage of the people that we stop now have at least one prior. And one of the significant issues that applies in the state of Montana now is we now have the telephonic search warrant for repeat offenders or people that have a prior refusal in their history, and that allows us to do a telephonic search warrant, speak to a judge, and then we can get a blood draw, and that happens even if the person wants to refuse to give a test.
One would think
they don't have the option to refuse anymore if they have prior convictions or refusals, and the judge grants the search warrant.
Sure. So one would think once you've been through the process of being arrested for drunk driving that should pretty much do it, but for some reason they keep offending.
That would be very true, and I'm not a behavioral scientist, I guess, so I don't understand that concept, but a significant percentage of the population learns after just one, but there's an awful lot of people that do not learn after one DUI. So
give us some, if you will, some Dr. Obvious deals about keeping this from happening over the Labor Day weekend.
Well, the number one plan I always say is if you're planning on drinking somewhere, have somebody take you there and drop you off, or take public transportation there so you do not have a car to drive, because people often make mistakes after they consume alcohol. They might think they're okay to drive, or they might not care, or something like that. And there's a reason they call it impaired. It means you make bad decisions after you put yourself in that condition.